Hey, welcome back to YT Finance, and today we are talking about Palantir Technologies PLTR stock and how it could surge by over 25% from now until the summertime, and then it could also surge again. We're also going to talk about how top Wall Street analysts are actually starting to like Palantir for a long-term play, which I actually predicted that eventually they are going to change their tune about Palantir and the PLTR stock. So for more videos like this one, remember to go and smash that like button right now, comment your thoughts down below about the PLTR stock, subscribe if you are new, and without further ado, let's jump right into today's stories. So if you didn't know, I've done a couple videos on this already, but Elon Musk is having a lot of drama pertaining to Twitter. He wants to fully buy out Twitter, and right now Twitter's board of directors are discussing whether or not they're going to let Elon buy out the company. Now, the reason why this is related to Palantir Technologies is that one of the Palantir co-founders named Joe Lonsdale actually says that he thinks that Elon Musk will force Twitter to confront its censorship, and that's mainly Elon Musk's priority in regards to Twitter. Now, if you want more videos and information about Twitter, I have already posted multiple videos on that, so feel free to go to the channel, press videos, and look up those videos. However, apart from that, let's focus on Palantir Technologies. In a nutshell, Palantir is still on track, and they have seen fantastic revenue growth that investors have somewhat fully ignored. They're mainly focusing on their government segment shrinking in business, which has caused many investors to be more bearish on the company. However, despite this shrinkage in their government business, their overall revenues have continued to grow. So clearly, the shrinkage in the government business has been offset by the growth on their commercial segment, which means that the pullback in the PLTR stock price has been unjustified. The author of this article thinks that the PLTR stock price could surge from its current price all the way up to around $15, and then once it reaches $15, it could continue to appreciate from then on by around 25% throughout the summertime. So now we're going to go into the details about why this author particularly thinks this way. Right now, the PLTR stock price is trading at around $12 per share, while the low-end 12-month analyst price target for the company is $9. The average price consensus is $15, and the high-end bullish price target for the next 12 months is around $25 per share. The author says that because of the recent sea of new unexperienced investors that have infiltrated the market over the last couple of years, this has caused the rise of many meme stocks because these people don't know how to invest properly. This is one of the reasons why the PLTR stock is oversold right now, because they don't understand what a long-term investment is, and they also don't understand what hedging their bets is. So for instance, the PLTR stock price has dropped around 77% in its value, which is absolutely astonishing from its all-time highs. And this author's prognosis or even thesis regarding the PLTR stock is to hold this company for the long term, and it's not a meme stock, despite what newer, unexperienced investors are thinking about this company. If you didn't know, Palantir Technologies is a big data and analytics company that serves both commercial clients as well as government agencies. The business has fantastic fundamentals, strong financials, great projections, amazing forecasts, and clearly they have strong demand for their technology because they have landed fantastic partnerships with multiple branches of the United States military, US allies, and many commercial partnerships with customers such as Merck, Ferrari, Airbus, and many others. Palantir's technology and platforms allow these organizations and or agencies to make data-driven decisions through their artificial intelligence, and as more organizations and agencies become more digitalized, they are going to need Palantir's artificial intelligence to process all of this digital data so they can make better decisions. Also, I want to point out that recently, analysts think that the PLTR stock has bottomed out and that they hit a double bottom. The stock price surged, it has pulled back recently. However, since then, some analysts believe that the stock price is going to surge because they are bouncing off of this support level. Now, although I think this is relatively speculative and I don't know if that will happen or not, it doesn't matter to me because I am planning to hold this company for the long term, which is around 10 years. So regardless about if it jumps in the short term or if it falls back down, it's really not going to affect or impact my long-term bullish thesis on this company in general, because overall I think this company is extremely important and very innovative in their respected space. Investors are more focused on the deteriorating government business in the last earnings report, which was clearly shown when we divided their revenue between their government segment and their commercial segment. However, I think investors tended to overlook their overall revenues increase by over 30%, and that their commercial segment is clearly taking over and going to surpass their government business, which I have been saying literally for over a year now. I've predicted that this is going to happen, and now people are freaking out now that it's happening, but it's okay. Their revenues are not going down. Clearly, they're still operating and growing at around a 30% CAGR, or compounding annual growth rate, which is very competitive right now. Also, Palantir Technologies is extremely adaptable, which means they are going to sustain long-term success over the long term, which is why I personally have a long-term investment into this company. Wall Street also is slowly figuring out Palantir's overall value, which is why some analysts, which we will talk about next, have actually changed their tune about Palantir and the PLTR stock. However, until then, and until more investors and analysts, particularly from Wall Street, understand the value that is in Palantir Technologies, the PLTR stock is going to continue to dip, which to me is a long-term buying opportunity. However, with that being said, make sure that you're not overexposing yourself to a risky speculative growth stock such as the PLTR stock, and make sure that you are very well diversified, which is going to lower your risk, which is just good risk management. Another reason why the PLTR stock price has fallen recently is due to Russia invading Ukraine, which actually should act as a catalyst, a positive catalyst for the PLTR stock price. The problem with this is that Russia invaded Ukraine shortly around Palantir's earnings report, which already had a general bearish tint to it, which made investors sell the PLTR stock. Despite this, financial reporters and analysts are still very bullish on the PLTR stock, because some of them say potentially that the stock price is going to rise above $15 for this year per share, which means that if it does break above the $15 mark, we could see another 25% increase over the summer. This also means Palantir Technologies is a good long-time investment where investors could accumulate smaller increments of stock over time, and eventually it could make a lot of wealth for them. Palantir has already had a very successful business, and Wall Street investors are not taking key note of this. Palantir's metrics are phenomenal, fundamentals are very solid, and they have over $300 million of positive free cash flow in regards to their operations. But with that being said, investors are still buying this company at a high PS ratio, or price to sales ratio, which is currently around 15.8, which is pretty realistic according to some analysts. However, according to Yahoo Finance, the average price target for the company is around $15 for the next 12 months, so we could definitely see the PLTR stock reach this price target before the year's end. Palantir Technologies clearly is not a value stock, it is a growth stock, so don't invest into this company thinking that you're going to obtain value anytime soon. This is a long-term growth play. Just think about Amazon, Netflix, and Tesla. All of them have had very major pullbacks throughout the years. However, for the investors that are willing to invest into these companies and hold for the long term, they have been extremely lucrative. Now I want to talk about particularly why Wall Street analysts are changing their tune about Palantir Technologies. The main reason for this is that Palantir Technologies is generating a lot of revenue from their commercial segment, and they are going to continue generating more revenues as time goes on, particularly in their commercial segment, which is going to bolster their overall business. The author of the CNBC article says that Palantir Technologies is profitable. However, they are referring to Palantir Technologies being profitable on a non-GAAP basis, not a GAAP basis. And according to a 5-star analyst who is Brian White, he says that the company could easily reach a price target of $20 per share. The main reasons for this is their steadfast growth, their amazing overall value, their fundamentals, and their unique software. This clearly gives them a competitive advantage compared to some of their competitors, such as Snowflake, which we will talk about later in the video. The 5-star analyst goes on to say that they still have phenomenal revenue growth, and that this company is an emerging software company. Now, Brian White is currently one of the top analysts, because out of 8,000 analysts, he ranks as 178. This means that out of his stock picks, he is right 64% of the time, so more than half, and he also averages returns of around 29.1% on each of his picks. This is absolutely phenomenal. This is overall very good, especially if we could see around a surge of 29.1% over the long term, or even a 25% surge in the short term. Now, with this being said, I do want to compare and contrast Palantir to other software companies such as Snowflake, and although these companies are in no way identical, they do have some overlap. For instance, Palantir has 3 main software platforms, which is Foundry, Gotham, and Apollo. Palantir specializes in artificial intelligence, particularly in terms of their operating systems and decision making on top of their machine learning and DevOps. On the other hand, Snowflake is a a cloud-based data warehouse company that provides data processing, analytics, and data storage. The data storage for Palantir is file-based, which makes them extremely secure, while the storage system in a Snowflake is cloud-based. For data analysis, Palantir has private operating system models, while Snowflake has a more conventional cloud-based data warehouse approach. They both have machine learning, only Palantir has DevOps. The programming languages that they support are very similar, however Snowflake does have the edge in that particular area, and the list goes on and on. Palantir basically is more for people and institutions that are already familiar with data analytics or data analysis tools. And of course, Palantir is extremely secure because they do this analysis through their private operating system models. On the other hand, Snowflake is not as secure, but it's very user-friendly compared to Palantir technologies and does not require as much technical knowledge. Both companies use AI, machine learning, and try to optimize companies in various ways. However, when it comes down to it, the business needs to ask themselves, how do they want their data stored? How do they want their data analyzed? The programming languages that they want to use, how easily the software can be learned, or the business uses behind them, because they do have different business uses. At the end, both Palantir and Snowflake offer their organizations a comprehensive solution for their data. However, it mainly just comes down to preferences, but Snowflake clearly has a larger addressable market and more companies that can easily use it. So with all of that being said, Palantir Technologies could go up as high as $15. If it hits that $15 mark, we could see another potential 25% increase over the summer, and from then on, potentially, we could even see the PLTR stock hit $20 per share, according to a 5-star analyst. But this is not taking into consideration any macroeconomic factors, further developments between Russia and Ukraine, or even further inflation, because inflation is going to drastically hurt growth stocks. However, at least Palantir Technologies has something to fall back on, which would be their free cash flow from operations. I would love to hear your thoughts on the PLTR stock price and where you think it's going to head in the next 12 months. Smash that like button right now for more Palantir stock videos, subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you in the next YT video.